Over the past decade, we've seen a transformation in the quality and resilience of the world's infrastructure, from ports and airports to water utilities and power grids. And also, sweeping changes in how these essential assets are financed and managed to best deliver services for the world's public. The upshot of these changes has been a dramatic rise in private ownership, driven by a strong desire by investors to deploy capital into long-term stable assets. In the decade from 2006, more than $200 billion were raised by specialist infrastructure funds, and at least the same again has been allocated by sovereign and pension funds. With transactions taking place across the developed world, much of the infrastructure originally established by governments is now owned and managed by specialist private investors. In response to this transformation, we at PwC recently undertook a research study with the support of the GIIA. We spent time with asset owners and management teams and evaluated the available public data on the performance of infrastructure assets worldwide over the past decade. We concluded around 4 key themes. First, that the new wave of investors typically see themselves as long-term custodians and adopt this mindset in their decision-making. Second, we've seen a strong desire to drive performance. Third, an appreciation of the vital economic and social role that infrastructure plays. And finally, whilst investors are financially minded, all the investment models we've seen show stable and appropriate returns for long-term investments. Now let's look at 2 of the case studies we evidence in our report. As recently as the 1990s, Chile's cities were pumping huge volumes of untreated sewage into the sea and rivers. Pollution was high, and diseases such as typhoid and shigellosis were rising. With insufficient resources to tackle the problem, the Chilean government decided in 1998 that a radical answer was needed to transform water quality and sewage treatment. Whilst the privatisation undoubtedly remains controversial, the improvement in environmental and public health benefits are clear for all to see. Chile has gone from being one of the poorest performers to a global leader in urban sewage treatment through harnessing private sector expertise and investment firepower. In Australia, Brisbane Airport was one of the first of a wave of privatisations aimed at freeing up the country's airports to keep pace with advances in global aviation. Since then, it's been transformed through ongoing major investment driving year-on-year rises in flights, passengers and indeed the workforce. And the investment's continuing, with a new runway now under construction that will double the airport's capacity. With huge appetite from the world's pension and sovereign funds to continue investing, we believe this represents the start of a trend we'll see for many years to come. To find out more, please download our report.